I have the honor of introducing a very important person, so please come on in the room. I don't have any jokes. I'm not a funny person, so please do this in a hurry. I see my friend over there, so we're good to go. I hope during lunch that you had a chance to meet someone new, have a discussion about a topic that you probably weren't very familiar with, but thinking about how great it is to be back here in the forum, to be back in person. And then I started thinking about it, and I walked in this morning to be in the McKimmon Center again. In the early days, most all the forums were hosted in this building. As I was introduced a minute ago, I'm honored to be the chair of the Institute for Emerging Issues National Advisory Board. Any of you know Dr. Seuss? Know the book, The Cat in the Hat? I sort of feel like that because I'm fortunate enough to have many hats that I'm wearing today. But I want to thank the IEI board members and the staff who are here today. The staff have done an excellent job of making this as a wonderful event so far, and I know it'll be great this afternoon. So would all the board members for IEI, the National Advisory Board, please stand and give them a round warm applause. Sarah, thank you for all that you and your staff have done. My other hat, I'm a board member of My Future NC, a nonprofit organization that aligns and coordinates local, regional, and state actions to dramatically increase the attainment of industry-valued credentials and post-secondary degrees. We have a goal, 2 million jobs by 2030. So My Future, NC, and IEI have come together and partnered for the last 2 years to increase educational attainment across the state. And more importantly, connect workers to good jobs. It's a strong partnership, and I'd like to ask Cecilia and any of her staff or any of her board members here today to please stand as well. Come on, Cecilia. There you go. Thank you very much. It's been an informative day. I don't know which session you attended, but I was lucky to do the Opportunity Youth. And I learned that having 4 boys, putting them to work early is very, very important. And then we had the unleashing of our total talent, the summary up here. And what was most telling to me today is the emotions that were being shown, and the very concerned about the employees, and concerned about the workers, and concerned about the underserved and underprivileged. It's very telling that everybody's open to working together. So this afternoon, we're going to have more sessions. We'll learn much, much more about the topic and learn more about our statewide commitment to being first in talent. But before we go there, I have the honor of introducing our next speaker, the North Carolina Governor, Roy Cooper. Governor Cooper was raised in Nash County, attended public schools, and he worked summers on a family farm. We have a lot of things in common, Governor. I knew the hard work in the summer was worth its while. He practiced law after had undergraduate degrees in both Chapel Hill and undergraduate and law degree. He and his wife, Kristen, raised three daughters. He served in both the House and the Senate, focusing on raising teacher pay, reducing class sizes, and writing North Carolina's first children's health insurance initiative. He was also Attorney General for North Carolina for 4 consecutive terms. But as North Carolina's 75th governor, he's outlined his priorities in a very eloquent mission statement. If I may, Governor, I love this statement. It's wonderful. I want a North Carolina where people are better educated, where they're healthier, where they have more money in their pockets, and they have the opportunity to live a more abundant and purposeful life. Our Governor, Roy Cooper.
Wow, thank you so much. You can now join my administration, Jack. You've got the mission statement down pat. And, you know, when I say that mission statement lots of places, the more money in your pockets even gets a big cheer in the 5th grade classes that I talk to. Jack, thank you for your longtime friendship and your leadership in North Carolina, a business leader in the western part of the state. We had an amazing announcement with Pratt & Whitney out there, but also your understanding of having a healthy, well-educated, diverse workforce is also another piece of that puzzle. We can attract the jobs. Those jobs can be created by business people, but if we don't have strong, smart, educated, diverse people to fill those positions, then we get a problem. So I thank you for that. A lot of people that work with me in my administration here, our Department of Commerce. I think Secretary Sanders was going to be here at one point if she's not here, but that First in Talent plan that they put forward is pretty extraordinary, and I know that you guys are looking at it quite a bit. Secretary Boyette at the Department of Transportation, I know he's planning to be here, anticipating the clean energy plan, clean transportation plan, that they're going to be coming forward with. We've already done great things in our power sector, now for our transportation sector. I know that Caroline Sullivan is here for the North Carolina Business Committee for Education, the good work that she's doing, and Annie Izod with NC Works, and all of our workforce development people who are in here. Thank you, educators, business people, for all coming together for this important effort. North Carolina has had amazing success over the last few years. Jobs, jobs, jobs. People coming to North Carolina, moving here. We are a growing state, wildly successful. But what keeps you up at night is, with all of the jobs being created, making sure that we have the workforce to fill them. In talking with CEOs, as I recruit companies or as I check with them as to how they're doing in North Carolina, their three main concerns are workforce, workforce, and workforce. They will tell you that right up front. We know that we've made it a goal with My Future NC to get 2 million more adult North Carolinians into the workforce by 2030. We were prescient when we decided to do that a few years ago. We may even need more now, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But we also know 2 million people with a qualified degree or credential. I make sure I add that. But there are other ways that I know that you're talking about that I want to mention of expanding the workforce at a time when we really need them to do so. North Carolina, the most military-friendly state in the country. We got about 800,000 veterans, a great potential for a workforce, people who are already educated and disciplined and ready to go. I've talked with business leaders and Republican and Democratic political leaders across the country about smart immigration reform to make sure that we have people here in this country who can do jobs that need to be done. And there are ways that we can secure our border and make sure that there is reasonable reform to deal with that. 3, second chances, reentry. From my own personal faith and beliefs, people can be redeemed. People can change. And often, people like this are some of the very best employees that you can hire. I've issued Fair Chance Executive Order. We've come together in a bipartisan way to pass Second Chance Act, which helps to get some crimes off of people's records to give them better opportunities to go forward. But we need more companies involved in this arena, because now when you need the workforce, this is the best time to go in and do that. Of course, there's some professions that you can't do this and the law prevents that, and you really shouldn't. But there are many more who can, and I encourage that effort. Another area, people with disabilities. Some of the very best employees that you would ever have. It's why I issued the Work First executive order that encourages state government and business entities to look to hire people with disabilities. I know we're working with Link It Now that provides statewide autism spectrum disorder interns to businesses to put them in good places to succeed that end up helping these companies succeed significantly. So these are areas that we need to explore and encourage to get people to join our workforce to deal with the workforce shortages that we have now, but also because for all of these things, it's the right thing to do. We have to look at our workforce holistically. One of the things that businesses are now understanding more and more every day is the importance of quality childcare, the critical component that early childhood education, quality early childhood education, gives to our children and our parents and the businesses. This is a triple threat, folks. Science is overwhelmingly sure that children who get early childhood education in a quality way succeed more in life. So we know that from the child's perspective, it's critical. We also know that parents need this child care for their children so that they can get in the workforce and provide for their families. And we know these businesses need these parents to be in the workforce. So we have to continue our commitment to invest in early childhood education and in quality child care. We've been so fortunate to have the American Rescue Plan from the Biden-Harris administration that's provided $800 million in North Carolina to provide bonuses for early childhood educators, to raise salaries, to provide equipment, to do the things that they need right now, particularly as we were coming out of the pandemic and they needed help more than ever. You'll see my budget when I roll it out. We're going to try to continue that effort. We're lobbying Congress to do the same thing, but we need to step up. And we appreciate the business community coming in and saying how important it is. A part of that holistic workforce issue, childcare, is also a healthy workforce. We still have a lot of people who are out there working, a little over 1 million who have no health insurance. Guess what helps with that? Expanding Medicaid is something that we really need to do. I think we have universal agreement in the legislature now that we do need to do that. The question now is when. And there's so many reasons other than the fact that people are dying and the fact that we're losing $521 million a month. There are many reasons to go ahead and do it right now to make sure that we expand Medicaid. And you'll help our workforce. You'll help people who are working in small businesses. You'll help people who are working 2 or 3 jobs and don't have the coverage in any particular job. You will help quality early childhood education and quality child care, as almost a fourth of our early childhood educators have no insurance and fall in that gap right now where they're making too much to currently qualify for Medicaid, but not enough to qualify for enough subsidies under the Affordable Care Act. So making sure that we expand Medicaid will help the child care issue. Finally, education. North Carolina's Constitution requires that every child have a sound basic education. We know in this state for decades that education is the key to opportunity, it's the key to success, it's the key for any person from anywhere being able to make it. And it is why it is so worthy of our investment from cradle to career. The early childhood education we've talked about, those investments are critical. K through 12. You know, I've talked with a lot of people from the Republican Party representatives where we have worked to say, what do we agree on in education? And there are a lot of things. There are a lot of things. 2 things particularly cover a lot of the spectrum in education. We all agree that public education can be great with a great teacher in every classroom and a great principal in every school. Period. End of story. A lot of other issues that are important, ancillary issues, but That means that we need to invest. That means that we need to pay them and treat them like the professionals that they are in order for us to attract and retain them. And they need to look like the students that they teach. Those studies have shown, and you can go and look at the work being done by my Drive task force right now. Students do better when their teacher workforce is diverse. Clearly, students of color do better, but all students do better when their teachers are diverse. So we have to continue with that. And our real strength, our communities at colleges and universities, let's remember that they are strong because of the foresight of so many people in this room and people who have come before us for decades. They knew how important it was. And when I'm at an Emerging Issues Forum and at NC State, I think of the greatest governor the state has ever known, Jim Hunt, who never ever stopped and knew the importance of these investments. We have the best community college system in the country. We need to make sure we keep it that way, investing in our instructors and investing in students and making sure that they can get an education, the long leaf commitment grants, the finish line grants that we've continued to push, making sure that people who want to improve themselves can afford to get a great education. And there's no doubt that we have the best array of public and private universities in the country. We have more four-year, historically black colleges and universities than any other state in the country. North Carolina A&T State University graduates more black engineers than any other institution in the country. And I was talking to a CEO about that and touting North Carolina's diverse workforce. He says they graduate more black engineers every year than the state of Wisconsin. He already knew. We have an amazing array of institutions in higher education. And we also know that work-based learning, making sure that we come back with making sure that we have these internships and apprenticeships that we had gotten away from over the year and linking our higher education to them. That is beginning to bring great benefits to the system, and we're going to continue about that. And I've appreciated everybody out there, and particularly our business community, lobbying for early childhood education. Thank you. Lobbying for K through 12 investments and greater teacher salary. Thank you. Lobbying for funding to be invested in our community colleges. Lobbying for money to be invested in our university. Lobbying for the innovation and entrepreneur capital that we know that we need to further our state. And I'm grateful for all of that. But business people know that you can't spend more than you take in. And in North Carolina, if we continue on this road of reducing taxes for the very wealthiest among us and for corporations, we're going to have a big problem. We will not be able to afford these investments that we have to make. We will not be able to afford to educate that adult workforce that we have promised these businesses that we would deliver to them. So as you lobby legislators and ask them to make these investments, tell them too, we don't need any more tax breaks for the wealthiest among us. We're already going down to zero for the corporate taxes. We're already going down for the flat tax to 3.99% income taxes. We don't need any more. We have to stop it in order to make sure that we can make these investments in the future, because if we don't, the math will not add up. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for the great work that you were doing. Look forward to the report, and let's keep North Carolina moving forward and put that money in people's pockets. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.